Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez.
From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Hi, everybody. Are you breathing normally? I guess that's the best. Are you hydrating and are you breathing normally? If you find yourself like throughout I sigh a lot. That's part of like the hard thing for me in being in the office. There goes my hydration. I just spilled some of my water on the counter. Everything's fine. I won't break the board. I promise. But it's when I'm around other people that I'm conscious of how much I sigh, and I realize like I feel like I'm holding my breath all the time. And it's not until I'm like in public or I have a nice cubicle with a beautiful view of Old St. Pat's Church, and but I'll catch myself like and I can tell it's just stress related, and I realize my ears are connected to my shoulders, and I'm just carrying everything so tightly. It's one of the reasons that we do our motivational Mondays with Jen Zanotti. But man, I think everybody needs to find a way to meditate a little bit, even if it's just taking a deep breath and holding it and letting it out. There's a lot of great places online that you can find guided meditation, even a minute, 5 minutes, if you can do 20, whatever it is, in the morning, at the end of the day, because these are stressful times. We're stressed, right? Those who believe in fighting for the rights and protections and freedoms of everyone, of human rights. This is really stressful. And look, folks, those of you who are hate listening, like the rage, the anger has got to be exhausting. So I want you to also take care of yourselves. Maybe take a step back, try to be mindful about why you're calling people names online. I got called some more names today. But I think they are getting a little bit tired. Maybe some of them are starting to have the fart around and find out effects. I'm not really sure. I will say I talk so much about the anger, the rage, the name calling, the really hateful stuff that I read. I also want to thank so many of all the people that are kind, whether it's on Facebook, on our text screen here, on phone calls. It really makes a difference. And look, there could be 100 people. My husband pointed this out when I first started doing comedy. There could be 100 people saying kind, supportive, wonderful things, and the only one I hear sometimes are the ones calling me a liberal slut. So I gotta flip that. Why? I know it's how we're wired. It's part of the chemistry in our brain. It's a survival instinct that this is dangerous, this person calling me a name or something that's negative, and our bodies, we're more inclined. That's why Republicans use hatred and rage and blaming somebody and othering somebody, marginalizing people, because it's effective. That's how our brains work. There's a great book called Don't Think of an Elephant. And it talks about how people respond to things, and they're the people who vote for folks like these technocrats. Now, really, we need to start accepting that the vision that these people have, those in D.C., from the Heritage Foundation, Musk, Alito and Clarence Thomas, the Federalist Society, they want us. They are prepping us for a dictatorship. I mean, I know it feels like we already are in one, but because it's all being taken, in different ways, and they're flooding the zone. I'm trying to learn more about this, and I want to thank the listener who called in and pointed me in the direction of the writing, the philosophy, I guess you would call it, of this guy Curtis Yarvin, who really believes that the United States, we need to destroy the democracy from the inside, the way that Musk is going in there with these Doge bags and destabilizing everything, making it dysfunctional and not functioning at all, so that they can take it over with their form of dictatorship and make this a corporate entity run by a CEO, essentially, which is a dictator. And I think that our frustration with Democrats is that, I don't know what we could have done. I do appreciate Tom earlier telling a listener who was, saying if only, Biden and Garland had done this. And we do a lot of that with, and I appreciate the work that Greg Palast does. I am with Tom. I have to deal with what's in front of me now. I have to find the things that I can functionally do in the face of everything that we are struggling with. That's why I go to Wisconsin. That's why I will be in Wisconsin this weekend, door knocking again and talking to volunteers in Wisconsin for Judge Susan Crawford's race, as well as the school superintendent race for Jill Underly, because these are the places that I feel I can do the most work. Or I guess there are other things I could do. This is where I feel better, when I'm walking and talking to people, and again, the work that we did last year with all the great volunteers from Elkhorn, Racine, Janesville, Kenosha. I make jokes about going to the Brat Stop, but we knocked on thousands of doors with just our little Fibs for Wisconsin group. And if you look at the numbers, and that was happening all over the state, people were coming from all over the country to Wisconsin. You had folks from Minnesota, Illinois. We met people from Boston and California, and their margin of loss was so much smaller than all the other swing states. It was by 1.5%, where it was like 6, 7 in places like Ohio, or at least Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and they flipped 10 House seats, which is crucial in making sure that Wisconsin does not revert back to a state that is so terribly gerrymandered that it would take even longer, decades longer, to make sure that we have any chance in Wisconsin. So we held on to that line while we didn't flip it blue. We were unable to. Kamala Harris did not win there, but the wins were significant where they were. So that's why I keep going to Wisconsin. I think that it is the most impactful place near us, I guess, is the best way to go. Like, I wanted to help out in Indiana, but I just don't see the path there. I know that there are a lot of great Democrats that are doing the work and calling attention to painful legislation. Because right now, it is going to be at the state level where you're going to have the most impact as they start to demolish the Department of Education, as we continue to watch what they're going to do with Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. What they're doing with Social Security is all of it is unconscionable. What they are going to do when they shut down, now this is a memo that was internal. It's been confirmed that the plan is to eliminate the access by phone, confirming information for whether it's having direct deposit to the bank. Over 85,000 people who are elderly or have a disability will now be required to go in office every single week for identification verification. So in Illinois, if Medicaid and Medicare are defunded here, what I believe it's about 750,000 people will automatically lose their insurance. And that's going to have, for the folks who are like, well, it's, whether it's the pull yourself up by the bootstraps or get a job that gets a healthcare, what do you think is going to happen to the entire healthcare, the entire medical industry in Illinois? We were going to close rural hospitals and access to urgent care in urban areas. There are already women who are pregnant or want to be pregnant or want to start a family that have to drive 90 minutes for maternal health care, because they do not have those services in their area. This is going to affect every single person in the country, and in Illinois, it is going to be incredibly painful. It's going to be painful, and it's going to be, honestly, the red states are going to suffer even more because they don't have, they take more in federal funding and services than we do. Most of the blue states were donor states because they don't have an income tax, or their property taxes are lower. And I know it's onerous to us, but then we are supporting places like Florida and Kentucky, and especially in places that get hit by natural disasters. A lot of that funding is because we put in more than we get back in federal dollars in our taxes. Whew, I didn't know I was going to go off on that. I am just, because there's so many things happening all at once. Okay. I was starting out by talking about gratitude because I got a really lovely note. I want to make sure Jerry reads this as well, because Jerry has been connecting us with so many of the great guests that you hear on the show. And so does Andy, Lady B, running this show. This is to the whole team. Please thank your incredible team for me. What great folks. And this is from Ellie Krug, who we talked to from the illegal, I can't remember, the show that she does on KTNF AM 950. And she says, I want to let you know how much I appreciate how you support my work, my show, and me. I so love coming on your fantastic show. Thank you very much. And this week, to have me on for a whole hour was simply wonderful. Well, then we should probably do more of a whole hour with Ellie, because because I think we're learning more and people were really engaged in that conversation. She says, I consider myself an idealist and a student of Dr. King and Bobby Kennedy. I was 11 years old when they were murdered. Like you, I so want to make the world better for all humans. I love working with you and your team. Thank you for the opportunity. Best, Ellie. Well, we'll talk to Ellie very soon in the next couple weeks. So, and a really beautiful card. That's so sweet. So thank you very much. And I want to thank you guys for showing up every day. Maybe not every day. Maybe, you got to take breaks from these conversations. Completely understood. And when you do, if you want to find out what we were talking about, you can always catch the show podcast on heartlandsignal.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts. All of our shows are podcasts. Right now, we also have Driving at Home featured interviews, and you can hear recent interviews with our sponsors, Source Solar's Peter Solaris and Sorellis. Peter, I'm going to get it sometime, I swear to God. And Warren Price. See, I remember you guys, Warren Hawk Price. We also talked to Greg Palast, Texas State Representative James Tellerico. Man, it is people like Representative Tellerico who are doing so much of the heavy lifting in deep red areas. And they keep, I just can't imagine. Just really fantastic. We also spoke to Walter Mendenhall, who's a former NFL running back and founder of Male Mogul Initiative. We, of course, have spoken to Harry Dunn and so many other people. You can find our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Amazon. Just search for Driving at Home with me, Patti Vasquez. And you can get the links on the Driving at Home show page by visiting heartlandsignal.com and just clicking on my face. It's a weird thing to say, but it's my picture, and there's my face. We have stuff to give away today. I am excited. First of all, I've been a stand-up comic for a long time, and you guys, comedy shows right now. Lady B came out to Tata's last week. Thank you to everyone who came to Tata's last Thursday for our great show with Joe Kilgallen, Jeannie Dugan, and Jaime De Leon, who you met this week on the show. And I believe almost everybody, except for me and Joe, that were on that show, I believe everybody else was a Sox fan. I don't know where you folks are. I've been a lifelong, I love baseball, but if I am asked, especially when I'm traveling, White Sox or Cubs, I'm going to say Cubs. I don't go to the games unless I get the tickets for free, though. And so I have an opportunity for you to go to the White Sox games. I do have to say, I do love an old ballpark, but G-Rate it's a fun place to go. The food is really good. Come out and enjoy a great game. We also have the reason I mentioned comedy is because we also have a great comedy show. I only have this one. I have been doing comedy for 30 years, and I will tell you, there is no better feeling than there's two. Being in an audience and my GPS signal was lost. Sorry, everybody. I have to tell you, I fell in love with stand-up comedy when I was a kid watching Johnny Carson. I saw Ellen DeGeneres' very first set. I saw Gary Shandling, Jerry Seinfeld, Steve Martin, George Carlin. Roseanne, saw her first set. And then I went to the Improv that used to be at Wells near, I want to say Wells, and it's right around the corner from, it's kind of like Wells in Illinois. That's where it used to be in the 90s. And I got to see Brad Garrett live. I saw Chris Rock live. You guys, being in that audience and laughing so hard you couldn't breathe, I fell in love with being in a comedy audience. And then it was about 5 years later that I was like, I'm going to give it a shot. And being on stage and knowing that you're connecting with an audience. I'm not saying every night is great, but when it connects, you guys, it really does take so much stress, even if it's just for an hour and a half, and just puts you in a place of feeling connected to the people who are laughing with you. And it's just a great energy. So I'm excited to give away a pair of comedy tickets. The Crazy African King of Comedy will have you doubled over when Michael Blackson comes to the Genesee on March 27th. By the way, great theater. I've had the pleasure of performing there as well. Blackson keeps audiences laughing with humorous insights on everything from relationships and life in his native homeland. Tickets are available through Ticketmaster and the Genesee Theater box office in Waukegan and GeneseeTheater.com. But we have a pair of tickets for you. Maybe this is where your way of going to see it, or you can buy tickets. So either way, I encourage you. So let's take caller number 3 for a pair of tickets to see the Crazy African King of Comedy. Contests running on WCPT are open to listeners 18 or older and residents of the greater Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana area. 1 entry per person, 1 winner per household. Void where prohibited by law. Listeners may only win or qualify to win one once every 30 days. Complete rules are available on our website at WCPT820.com by clicking the contest tab. Again, that's going to be at the Genesee Theater on March 27th for everybody else who would like to get a pair of tickets. And I encourage you to go see a comedy show. Later in the show, we will have a pair of tickets to give away for opening day. It's the same day as a comedy show. You can't win both, though, folks. You have to pick one. I mean, you can only win one year. Let's take a break here and continue our conversation when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
Stephanie Miller.
I've gotten more mail than I've ever gotten in my entire life. Because a lot of people have a lot to share, and they can't always make it on the phone lines, or they're nervous. And trust me, whatever you're going through, me too. All of us. Wherever you are in your timeline. Drunk, sad, scared, angry. Right there with you. Thank you for people saying they're not listening to anybody but me. I think that's a good plan. Because I'm just like, blah, 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 blah.
Stephanie Miller. Weekday mornings, 8 to 11 on WCPT 820.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or
and
Pete.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now at 773-763-9278. Driving it home with Patti Vasquez now on WCPT 820.
We had a great conversation with our friends from the Way Back In earlier this week, and I want to remind you that March is Gambling Awareness Month, Problem Gambling Awareness Month, and we are proud to have our sponsors of the Driving It Home family. Are you really winning? Gambling is common in Illinois, with many people taking their chances on the lottery, video game rooms, casinos, or online sports betting. When you find yourself betting and thinking about gambling all the time, when you lose more than you win, and when gambling is affecting your job, relationships, and more, are you really winning? They're here to help you because you are not alone. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit areyoureallywinning.com. And I've mentioned before that I have a very personal experiences in this area. My father became just absolutely consumed by his need to chase money he had lost, and to the point of bankruptcy and taking out credit cards in my name, my mother's name, without telling us. And I want you to know that if you are thinking about it all the time, or you think that this time I'm going to win, I'm going to get that money back, it's so painful to watch someone go through that for your loved ones. So please love yourself, take care of yourself. And if you are with somebody who is struggling, please find the grace to help them and find a way forward. Jim is poor Jim. Jim, I'm always talking about gambling now. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah.
Hey, now, Jim, do you like? I grew up, my dad playing like poker and going to the races. It just changed when he had to quit drinking, is when it was bad. Do you still play poker or go what? You know?
No. In fact, when it got bad with me, I escaped to Europe with my sweetheart for a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and I'd be relieved that I didn't have to look at a racing form. You know, I picked up a book.
Oh, there you go.
Read it.
Yeah, just changing your environment. That's great.
But Patty, my God, I had friends that got so much trouble gambling. I can't even tell you. I had in fact, a friend of mine started a GA.
Really?
GA
group, sure.
Group. And he's famous. I didn't want to mention his name, but the younger guys that I saw at the track, and I saw that they couldn't control themselves. You know what I mean? I'd say to them, what do you do? Well, I'm a cement finisher and nicest guys in the world. I'd say, you'll make more money in the long run by concentrating on, doing good, because he had his own contracting business and so on. But I've seen contractors go broke. I've seen people go broke all the time, you know.
Yeah.
And I've had to move people out of their apartments, but bookies were after them and everything else.
Yeah. I don't want to go into any details, but I think that was the kind of situation my father was in, which made it worse, right?
Well, Patty, what happens is once you know, let's say you lose $5,000, and you're like, oh my God, I lost $5,000. How am I going to make this $5,000 up? And now you get desperate, and you're going to take bigger chances.
Yep.
And you figure,
yeah.
Well, but you want to get back to the day where you weren't in that kind of trouble. That's the thing. You know, that's the thing. You want to get back to that day where, like, oh, I don't have to worry about gambling anymore. I don't have to worry about that. But anyway,
yeah, I hear you.
It's you know.
Thank you for that, Jim. I really appreciate you sharing that. I think that helps a lot of people too.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Patty, I was thinking of Keats, the romantic poet. April is the cruelest month. And I'm thinking about you in April 1st, and going up there and busting your behind, getting people to vote. And then I think you've got this Afrikaner who's going to spend God knows how many millions of dollars. And when you think about this, what if he stood in the street and just handed everybody $1,000 or $2,000 and said, vote for...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's what it's coming to. And another thing that kills me is the ID thing. Now, when I was a kid, I didn't have to show an ID to anybody, but I never carried a wallet anyway. But when 9/11 hit, I used to buy my cigars at the Board of Trade building because the track was down the street. And so I came in the first day after the bombing, and they go, what's your name? Who are you? I said, don't worry about who I am. You'll figure it out. You know what I mean? I said, I got to get a couple cigars. Well, it was like the Nazi, it was like the Nazis took over the place. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And their scheme is to get everybody identified. I don't know if we'll have to take DNA tests sometime. It'd be easier to take a DNA test, I guess. I don't know. They can make it easy where you just lick a stamp and go, oh, yes, you're so-and-so and so-and-so. But this idea that we're burdened with this Gestapo measures.
I know.
That's what kills me.
Well, what's so crazy now that they're saying, Musk is saying these judges have to be impeached because they're diminishing the authority of the president. Well, yeah, that's how this works. I know.
Yeah, but who is this nut? Him and Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel went to a grammar school where they wore Nazi uniforms.
I know.
They really did.
Yeah, these are the technocrats taking over our country, and we were asleep at the wheel. The Heritage Foundation the Heritage Foundation, used them to their for their agenda. I got to run into other calls, Jim.
I know, Patty. Thanks a million. Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. And Nancy is in Oak Lawn. Hey, Nancy, how are you? Are you hydrating today?
No, actually, well, yes, actually I am, but how am I doing? Not good.
That's why I changed it to are you hydrating? Because we're all screwed. That's how it feels.
I'm going to take a breath here because I swear to God, every time since November 5th or 6th, maybe I should say, I discuss any political stuff with anybody, I end up screaming my head off. And you want to know why? And I'm sorry, Patty, I like calling you because you give people a chance to talk. You don't cut us off or anything. But here's the thing. You said something just a little while ago that really set me off. And
oh, boy. Go for it.
Said it.
Okay.
Tom says it. You're always telling us, if somebody calls and says, well, what are the Dems doing? Believe me, they're not representing us.
Yep.
And we start complaining about them, and you guys, well, you can't go back, and, we have to deal with what we have now.
Yes.
What we have now is because of the Democrats not doing anything for the last 50 to 70 years.
Okay, I think that's fair. Yeah.
They did not heed the words of, I know, but I'm told when I say, it isn't going to work, we're not being ruled by a majority. We are being ruled by the same damn two-party system, undemocratic two-party system that has always been ruled by the minority, and that's because they've never changed any of the basic rules that they started with. We started with 3 million people, maybe almost 4 million people. This country started with that many. We have 100 times that many people in this country now, and they're still following the same rules they created in 1787 or whatever the heck it was. Nothing's changing. Do you watch The Daily Show?
I do not.
I watch it when Jon Stewart's on, which is Monday nights. And just this past Monday night, I'm going to ask you to go watch it if you could. Just this past Monday night, Jon Stewart ranted for the first, whatever it is that he talks about what's happening, about the Democrats screwing up again with that vote. And then he had Chris Murphy on after that. And basically what Chris Murphy did was sat there and said, yeah, you're right. You know, nobody ever gives us, they tell us all the time what these screw-ups are doing in our White House, which, by the way, WH no longer stands for White House, it stands for whorehouse.
Ooh.
And, you know, he's out there hawking Teslas, those Teslas in front of our White House. People don't remember, or they do. The majority of us, you know, we the people, we do want to fight. We don't have the microphone. The Democrats do, and I'll tell you what, they're earning that nickname that the cons gave them, Democrats, because they ain't doing squat.
So,
and I'm sorry.
You don't have to be sorry, and I appreciate your passion. And I want to say, my point being, I think, you know, is I get more frustrated on the things, talking about the things what we should have done is what I mean, is that I'm dealing with what's in front of me. I agree with you. I hate the way Merrick Garland handled this. I think that Biden could have done a lot more. We now know you can break things on the inside for bad things. I wish that we would break things on the inside, like we were talking a few weeks ago with Kirk Bangstead. We could break things to do good things for people. Let's push the limits to help people, and we don't do that. And I fully agree with you on that.
And what about they go after each other instead of, you know, every time these cons come up with something like 4 years ago when they were saying the whole time, first of all, they took over our media long ago, and the Democrats allowed that.
Yep.
The two-party system doesn't work.
Yeah, we just figured we just rolled over and figured. I think we always figure it's going to work out, and here's how it worked out. I've got to run to the break. I'm so glad you called.
And thank you so much for listening.
Absolutely. Take care of yourself. A deep breath, my friend. Thank you.
Yes.
And hydrate. Let's take a break here. When we come back, we are going to talk to Dr. Benny White. We've got some races to talk about throughout the Chicagoland area. I'm sorry I'm late, Lady B. Was it super bad? All right, more in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
Think Theory Radio.
Manipulating the masses is more utilizing propaganda, gaining a wide quadrant of the public, where crowd manipulation is more focused, like the divisionary tactics of these political parties. They utilize certain talking points and phrases to target specific groups that they want to maneuver and empower and get them to do their bidding.
Think Theory Radio with Damian Perdue. Saturdays at 6 p.m. on WCPT 820. Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
Union Strong Chicago continues to lead the way with progressive values and in preserving democracy. Your support of the Minocqua Brewing Company Super PAC efforts in Wisconsin and beyond strengthens the fight against MAGA Republicans. You can now purchase progressive beers like Labor Lager, Love Wins Fruited Sour, and the Resistance IPA in Chicago at Rogers Park Provisions, Diversity Beer, Wine, and Spirits in Lakeview, Park West Liquor, Wine, and Beer in Lincoln Park, Logan Square Liquors, and Tip Top Food and Liquors in Westtown. Visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com for all their Chicagoland locations. As always, no matter how bad our sports teams are, please drink responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
In your communities, in Chicago.
On WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. You know, we've been talking a lot about local races, and we want to talk to Councilman Dr. Benny White, who's in Naperville running for re-election. Hey, Dr. White, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Patty?
Oh, boy. I don't know if you should be saying great. Everyone out there knows that you're either lying or you're out of touch with what's happening. I'm kidding. I keep asking folks if they're hydrating. So I know that you're running for office. Are you also making sure you stay hydrated, which is a way of saying, are you taking care of yourself?
I am not doing the best of taking care of myself, but I'm managing. But
yeah.
I have high standards for taking care of myself, and I feel like I'm missing out a little bit, but I'm hanging in there.
Well,
2 weeks to go.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. That's right. So early voting, I'm guessing, has already started in Naperville. Tell us a little bit about, first of all, because I know we're learning a lot about the different layers of like county races, of municipal races, and then tell us about the Naperville Council that you're a member of.
Well, our city council, I've been on the city council for about 8 years now, and I'm finishing up my second term. This will be my third term, and I will term out after that. But as far as what we do here at the city council, the big thing for us really is public. Number one is always public safety, because we just need to make sure that we have a safe community for people to live in, and I think our residents definitely expect that. Our city services continue to be great. We provide everything from picking up leaves to ensuring the streets are good, and just plowing the snow. And I tell you, if we miss a leaf pickup, we hear about it out here. So that becomes extremely important, and residents really expect that. As far as the budget is concerned, that's another responsibility for us, is ensure that we pass a budget each year that's well balanced. Of course, we collect taxes, and we're responsible for local ordinances such as zoning types of issues and so on.
I wonder, because Naperville is often regarded as one of the best communities to live in the country. It's come a long way since I was a kid in the 70s, and always seems to be on the top of many lists. Where did you grow up? Did you grow up in Naperville?
No, I did not. I'm a retired military officer, and so I've moved all over the place. But I originally grew up. I'm originally from Kansas City.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Are there any barbecue places that compete with Kansas City in Naperville?
Oh boy, there's not a lot here. Mission Barbecue is pretty solid.
There you go.
I do like them, but I tell you, just in the Chicagoland area, It's a place off of Pulaski called Smoke Barbecue.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you've heard of that.
Look at
the
lady being in the producer's booth. We're both like, yes, smoke is. Oh my God, yes, yes. Oh,
yeah,
there you go. Well, so you, as a retired military officer, first of all, when did that desire to serve our country come? Because I know you went to West Point. As a kid, did you have family members, or was it something that came to you that this is what you needed to do in life?
Well, my dad was a big influence on me. He had served in the Marine Corps for 4 or 5 years. So, I knew a little bit about the military. But when West Point came up, and my big motivation coming out of high school is I wanted to play Division I football. That was huge for me. And West Point provided that opportunity. In fact, when I'm often asked that question about going to West Point, I'm brutally honest. I tell folks that, hey, I wanted to go to a great school, play Division I football, and of course not pay for it because everyone's on the scholarship that gets into the service academy. In the Army, which we actually had a 5-year commitment afterwards, was an afterthought for me. But I figured, hey, I can do 5 years. Anyone can do something for 5 years. But once I graduated and I've gotten into the Army, I really enjoyed my time in the military. The opportunity to serve and lead soldiers was just something that kind of came natural for me, and gave me an opportunity to serve my country, something I didn't think it would work out like I thought, but it really grabbed me, and once I started, I got into it. I really loved what I was doing.
Well, and I love that you also have gone on to teach both at West Point and then professor of military science at Wheaton College. When you have young folks, and I'm guessing at Wheaton you might have a wide range of ages, but yeah, generally young folks. What does it remind you of when you were first, learning about what our military history, not just our military history, but what the role is of serving in the military and our country, what it means to have a well-manned military?
Yes, serving at Wheaton was really was a great experience for me. I tell you that when I went there, our country was, quite frankly, we were in Iraq. So the young men and women that were part of that program knew for sure that they were going into a combat situation after they graduated. I didn't have to deal with that once I graduated from West Point. We weren't currently, at the time, in the war. But these young men and women knew that. And, I tell you, my hat's off to them. I often would tell folks, anyone who would want to listen, as we have discussions about the greatest generation, and oftentimes we're talking about World War II. I said these kids today, oftentimes get a bad rap, being computer kids. They don't do things like, I'll tell you what, my Wheaton kids were fantastic. And for them to sign up knowing what they were about to go into during that time, my hat's off to them. So I really, really enjoyed the experience with them.
And you decided to get involved in being elected to serve people in your community. Tell us a little bit about pursuing that role. When did you go, I need to be more active and put myself out there? Because this is not a small task. Even if you've been in the military, it's a lot. It's a different kind of battle, isn't it?
It is. It's similar to the story I told you about going into West Point and then staying in for 22 years. For me, we moved to Naperville primarily because of the schools, which most young families, with children, that's a big draw for them. So that was my initial, thought process. But as part of that, I've always been involved in the schools. My wife, especially my wife, we've always been involved in our kids' education. So, at some point that, it gets noticed, and it looked like here's what ended up happening. One of the school board members in Indian Prairie 204 was selected to be on the State Board of Education, and they needed to replace that person. And they asked if I would apply for it. So I said, well, sure, I'll do it. If you think I can help, I'll definitely do it. And I was selected. And from there, I went on and ran for election. And that's really how I got into it. And after being on the school board for 5 years, I had a lot of folks asking if I would run for city council. And I decided to do that, understanding that Naperville had never had a city council person of color up to that point. And that was in 2017. So when I was elected, I actually became the first one.
That's amazing. And I get to, my heart stops a little bit when I hear people talking about these things, because we have at the federal level this drive to erase our knowledge of, even learning about Jackie Robinson the page being taken down. I think we need to know these things. We need to, when you say first, there was a reason why there haven't been before, and a lot of artificial reasons. But so I appreciate that. And I'm grateful for you and your service, both in the military and as councilman. Do you mind if we
Thank you.
Absolutely. Do you mind if we take a break and continue our conversation with you for a few minutes after the break? Because I'm fascinated by your story. I'd like to talk to you a little bit more.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. We are talking to Dr. Benny White, who is running for re-election for Naperville councilman. And you can go to Betty. Sorry, Dr. White. Benny. I'm sure it's not the first time it's happened. BennyWhite.org, a great website where you can learn more about his commitment to service in his community and to his country. Let's take a break here and continue the conversation on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
Hey, Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
In your communities, in Chicago.
On WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. We are talking to Dr. Benny White, who is running for re-election for councilman in Naperville. So we spent some time talking about your service and your experience in teaching. I love how much you seem committed to learning more. A Master of Science in Kinesiology, a Master's of Business Administration, and a doctorate in Values-Driven Leadership from Benedictine University. Are you going to continue to earn more degrees, or is it now more elected positions? Or a little bit
we will not be having any more degrees. In fact, I had someone approach me and said, "Man, you have more degrees than the month of July." I said, "Oh boy, that's a lot." So
that's great.
I think I'm gonna slow down now at this point.
Well, what a great accomplishment! But I think it also shows intellectual curiosity and wanting to enhance your service to others. So again, we were talking about when you ran for school board and are now on the council of Naperville. So when you became a councilman, I'm wondering, was there a moment? Is there anything that kind of surprised you about being? Because I always, we have this idea of what it's going to be once you get that achievement. But has anything sticks out for you in your memory of first serving on the council that just caught you off guard a little bit?
Nothing really major. I will tell you, my 5 years on the school board somewhat prepared me for being on the dais and talking, but with individuals and working with the other members of the board or the council. I think one thing that somewhat surprised me on the school board during public comment, we let people speak, but we really don't correspond with them from the dais. We take that in and we write down their concerns, and then we get with them after the meetings. However, on the city council, we engage directly with the public speakers. So that was probably the one big difference that I saw, but nothing major.
In your time of service from the school board to city council, now heading into hopefully your third, with the success of your race, third term, have you? How would you how would you describe, or what would you say that the shift has been? Have you seen this energy, this sort of momentum that seems to have started under President Obama's term of people not losing trust in our institutions, right? Whether it's the library board or the school boards or city councils and things like that. How has that experience been for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I can tell you when I first got on the council, it was hard to tell, where people stood politically. The city council is a nonpartisan position, but we would talk, we would discuss the issues, and after a while, maybe where someone stands politically from a national or state perspective, but the votes that we would take on issues in Naperville would generally be, unanimous, because most of the stuff is, consent agenda items. But on things that are more controversial, the votes would be split right down the middle. Half the Democrats, that folks identified as Democrats would vote for, would be on one side of the issue, and the others would be on the other side, and same with those who identified as Republican. So we were really genuinely concerned with what we thought was the best answer for the city of Naperville. And I've seen, that was during President Obama's time, and I'll tell you, we see what's going on nationally, and we are, seeing that start to infiltrate down into the local level. So there are times when you can definitely tell things are going right down party lines, which is unfortunate because we're losing sight of what we feel is the best, decision for the city. And I get it. We do come from our own political backgrounds, which really should kind of tell you where someone's values are. Right. But at the end of the day, you should be able to make the best decision for the residents of the community.
Yeah, I just I hope that we can find a way. I don't know what that way back is of why people show up to city council meetings and look. There's people have always had an axe to grind or whatever. It just seems like it's bleeding over into areas that previously hadn't been necessarily the scope of a council meeting. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. But sometimes we've had meetings where there are a lot of people that come in to speak, and those meetings, sometimes there are 2 or 3 hours of just public comment, and it's long, but that's what we signed up for as elected officials, to allow our community to exercise their First Amendment rights and tell us how they feel about certain things, and I love it. I love it. So. Yeah, I look forward to meeting you at some point. We need to broadcast sometime from Naperville. I know we've got a lot of friends out there, a lot of listeners. We've been talking to Dr. Benny White, who's running for re-election for Naperville City Council. Councilman, tell folks, give them your 30-second pitch about what your vision is and what you want to bring to your next term. All right, you ready? Here it goes. Hey, Naperville thrives with strong leadership and a commitment to service. And I'm Councilman Benny White, a West Point graduate and retired lieutenant colonel. I've led by prioritizing public safety, good governance, economic growth, sustainability, and a commitment to strengthen our community. I put people over politics, making decisions that keep Naperville safe, vibrant, and a great place to raise a family. I'm Benny White. I served my country. I served this city, and I'd be honored to have your vote.
The crowd goes wild. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
And folks, go to bennywhite.org. You can learn more about Dr. White's service, his commitment to his community. Also, this is the part where when I was running for office, Councilman, we ask for your time, for your money, and for your vote. But I'll help out with that. That's the way you can help Dr. White get across the finish line for another term. Thank you so much. I do look forward to meeting you, and I wish you the very best. I assume early voting is started. What should folks know? Is there information on your website for that as well?
Yes. You could take a look at our website, and early voting information is on there. Of course, the election day is April 1st. I am number one on the ballot.
Hey!
There's 8 people running. I'm the number one on the ballot. So
nice.
I would appreciate your support. And I tell you one last thing. These municipal elections generally have a low turnout. So I actually ran for mayor 2 years ago, and Jesse White endorsed me, and he came up to a couple of events, and he charged everyone to be what they call a tenor. And everyone's, what are you talking about? He wants you to go out and tell 10, and they tell 10, and they tell 10. So we really have to get people out to vote, and that's what makes our community great when we have people involved in the process.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I look forward to talking to you again, and I wish you the best. Take care.
All right. Thank you. Take care, Patty.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Take care. We got a few minutes left before we go to the top of the hour for news and such. Coming up in the next segment after 6 o'clock, I'm thrilled to welcome some guests in the studio we've talked over the last few weeks about food pantries in the area. Our friends from Addison Township and Winfield were telling us how much how hard it is to maintain some of the food pantries and make sure people know that they have what they need. And there's also another way of getting involved in your community, and I actually am invested in a food co-op here in Chicago, so it takes a while. It takes a long time to get the funding. So we're going to have Jerry and Kathy Nash in studio of Prairie Food Co-op in Lombard. Again, you can go to prairiefood.coop if you want more information ahead of our conversation with them. And as I mentioned earlier, we have opening day, you guys, is on March 27th for the Chicago White Sox, because baseball is back, you guys. You can join us at Rate Field for opening day on March 27th as the White Sox take on the Angels. And I'm saying this as though we're going. I think we need to make sure that happens, Lady B. I'm just saying. The first 20,000 fans will receive a 120... Wow, it's 125 years already? Where has the time gone? I mean, I wasn't there the whole time, but at least 54 of those years. Holy moly. 125-year anniversary blanket will be given away to the first 20,000 fans. That's from BMO. The great single game tickets are still available. You can book a group outing or upgrade to a private suite for an unforgettable game day experience. To learn more and to purchase opening day tickets, visit whitesox.com/opening day. Again, that's whitesox.com/opening day. But I have a pair of tickets to give away right now. I think that's what I'm giving away. Contest. So let's do, give me how many, what you want. Oh, caller number 5. She's making it harder, folks. Caller number 5. We have a pair of tickets to give you. I'll give away for opening day. Again, that's on March 27th. Contest running on WCPT 820 are open to listeners 18 or older and residents of the greater Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana area. 1 entry per person, 1 winner per household. Void where prohibited by law. Listeners may only win or qualify to win once every 30 days. Complete rules are available on our website at WCPT820.com by clicking on the contest tab. I really want to go see a baseball game now. I have not been to G Rate Field in a long time. At Rate Field, I guess it's called now? All right. I mean, I still call it Comiskey. Is that wrong? At any rate, maybe I'll go to a Sox game this year. I do have one from a previous radio station I used to work at. It was very hard for me to wear, but I'll wear it. I just love baseball. I love being at the park. I love the sounds. It means that, I do love that James Earl Jones speech in Field of Dreams. And, since the beginning of this, it draws people. It brings us together. At any rate, they will come. If you build it, or at least if you have an opening day, they will come. Let's take another break here, and when we come back, we're going to talk to Kathy and Jerry Nash of Prairie Food Co-op in Lombard. That website again is prairiefood.coop. If you want to learn more about our guests before they come in studio, more in a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez.
From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. We want to say hello to our friends listening on KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota. We are broadcasting here in Chicago on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. And I know that when the sun goes down, it gets a little harder to hear at the station. So make sure you've got the TuneIn app downloaded or watch the live stream on Facebook or YouTube. And the guests that you see in studio, we're going to talk to in just a moment. I want to thank our sponsors. Thank you to our friends at Source Solar. Go to source.solar. And make an appointment. Find out if the time is right for you to get solar panels on your house or your business. Over 100,000 happy customers in the Chicagoland area. And our podcast with Peter and Warren is available on the Heartland Signal website or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can really informative conversation, and we look forward to having them back in studio very soon. Thanks to our friend Kirk Bankson and Minocqua Brewing Company. We'll be at the Minocqua Brewing Company Madison Tap Room on March 25th. So that's next. Oh my God, is that already next Tuesday? Come on. It's too many things, Jerry, happening all at once. We're going to go door knocking on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday in Wisconsin, wherever they'll have me, whatever doors I can get to help elect Judge Susan Crawford. Go to MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. Sign up for the newsletter. You guys, if you could help me out on Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays every week by reading the newsletter, first of all, and then maybe buying some coffee. Because Ben Cominos is whooping my butt. He got like 9. I got 2. I'm just saying, it's not a contest. It's not a contest. It's not a contest. All right. So go to MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. And we also want to thank our friends at the Way Back Inn. March is Gambling Awareness Month, Problem Gambling Awareness Month, and we encourage you to call 1-800-GAMBLER or AreYouReallyWinning.com if you or someone you love is struggling with a gambling problem. So thank you to everybody. And our friends at Kids Above All, go to kidsaboveall.org. And don't forget, in June, we are going to have a comedy fundraiser for Kids Above All featuring me and Paul Farvar and comics to be named soon. Mostly whoever I pick. People I like working with. If they're on the show with me, it means I really like them. So there you go. And I like all the folks that come in studio. That's the thing. I may not know you, but if Jerry says you're good people, then you're going to be in studio is all I'm saying. And so joining us from the Prairie Food Co-op, we have Kathy and Jerry. Right, okay, I'm not looking at notes anymore. So
that is correct. You got it.
Hello.
Yep. Hi.
So hi, Kathy and Jerry. Thank you for joining us in studio and hanging out in the neighborhood. You've been here all afternoon. You came up early.
Yes.
So first, Kathy, let me meet you. You mentioned when we were in the hallway that you grew up. You grew up in the kind of on the northwest side,
in Ravenswood.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Resurrection because I was a gymnast. And I had a good gymnastics team.
Wow! So did you go from Ravenswood to Res?
I did. It was a long commute.
Yes, I went the other way. I went from here to Lane Tech.
Oh, I would have gone to Lane. Yeah, it was like kind of close by neighborhood school.
Yeah, it was. I got fitted for the skirt for Resurrection in 1985. And I started getting I couldn't do it, Kathy.
Yeah,
I couldn't do it. But if you're going someplace, and I probably should have gone for softball, but it's a good. I have friends that graduated. A lot of friends that graduated from
I loved going there. It was a great experience.
I believe it. It's in a great area. When I was before or after the skirt changed, they changed the colors, didn't they?
So the funny thing is, as a freshman, I got to model the skirt. I wore it around to the different homerooms. We got to vote on what skirt we wanted.
Here.
Yes.
Really? How funny is that? So did you like the change? Because I think it was gray when you first went there. Then
it changed every 2 years.
Did it really?
So we got to vote on the ones we wanted, and then the second place ones went to the freshmen. So I had this kind of.
You get to wear these now, losers.
Right.
Oh, that's so
I didn't
funny.
mind the skirt, yeah.
Excellent. And then after high school, what were you up to?
After high school, I went to U of I, which I've been told you also went to.
Yep.
I did not graduate from there because I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life.
Okay.
I was engineering for a while and marketing, and I kept switching my major. And I was like, this is not a good use of my time or my parents' money.
Who does that? Oh, I see. Yes, that part. The money part, yes.
Yeah, so I took a year off, kind of examined what I wanted out of life, and then ended up going back to Elmhurst College.
Oh, great.
Randomly chose computer science, which I love, so I'm a software engineer, and I'm very glad I ended up in that.
Holy cats. All right, nice. And how about yourself, Jerry? Where'd you grow up?
Decatur, Illinois.
Oh, Decatur.
Central Illinois. Oh, you know it.
I drove through it on my way other places, but it's still a great area.
That's right. Stop by Crickles.
Which one's the one that Dick Van Dyke was from? The Van Dyke, not Decatur.
From,
Dixon,
Danville.
I always get the D towns I get confused about. Yeah. So Decatur, Illinois.
Yeah.
And did you move out of Decatur after high school?
Yeah, it's kind of a place that's a big manufacturing town, big union town actually. Both of my parents were union. but really not a lot for, future if you live there. So I joined the Army.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming. All right.
Yeah, no.
All right.
And actually, I was a cook in the Army, which kind of started me on the path to where we are now. After the Army, I worked in a lot of kitchens, bartender, server up here in Chicago.
What were some of your favorite places you bartended at?
Brett's. My all-time favorite place was Brett's Restaurant. It was in Roscoe Village.
Okay.
It's been closed for a while now, but it was great food, great clientele, just a cool restaurant with a unique menu.
Yeah.
But then, moved around kitchens a lot, and then I worked in grocery stores and found myself, Kathy and I, we volunteered at Common Ground Food Co-op in Champaign-Urbana.
Oh, my God. How
Yeah.
wild is that?
Yeah.
All right. Again, I just went through a Champaign a couple weeks ago, Champaign-Urbana. I actually went to, now I'm going to forget the name of the bar that's been there forever. Is it Deluxe's? Anyway, it's right. That's been there forever.
Yeah, but I think they closed it down. They closed down.
That was the fish sandwich place. But
Yeah.
it's the other one that only 21 and over.
Like C.O. Daniels?
No. C.O. Daniels. I mean,
Cams.
Cams and C.O.'s. You may as well swing around on a meat hook on a Friday night. At any rate, but I have fond memories. So you guys met when you were in school?
Yeah, so I was attending U of I, and he was there kind of doing his cooking thing in the kitchens, and we just met through his sister, actually.
Yeah, my sister's house. Yep.
Yeah, and we kind of found ourselves back there, because I work at U of I, and...
You do? You currently?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
A software engineer. And back there, and when we had our kids, we were very concerned about, where we're getting our food, and discovered Common Ground after we returned, right?
Yeah, at that point, they had moved into a location that was actually not in the basement of a church. They went, for profit, which now most co-ops do now.
Yeah, Common Ground, I feel like that was there in the 90s, too.
It's been there since the 70s.
So I'm familiar. I mean, I don't think I ever went to Common Ground, but I remember being sort of one of those in the background, familiar with it.
Yeah, it was in the basement of a church.
Yeah, that sounds right.
You needed a secret map to find.
Yeah, that sounds right, like a Greystone church or something. I remember there being signs. Did they have like a lunches there too, or no?
I think at that church there were lunches, not at Common Ground, but the church did a lot of kind of cool things.
That sounds right. Sorry, folks, I'm digging through my memories of 1989. Takes me a minute. So, what was the genesis then? Was working at Common Ground and having that experience with a co-op. So, if you're working in Champaign, so where do you live? Do you live in Lombard?
We live in Lombard. Once we had kids, we kind of want to be back in my hometown area because my family's here, my sisters are here, my parents are here. So we moved back to Lombard about 15 years ago to raise our kids in the Chicago area, and we found that we really, really missed our food co-op.
Aww.
It was a really kind of special part of our life in Urbana. It has a nice community.
Yeah.
You felt good about shopping there and supporting the local farmers and food producers, and there's just not anything like that around where we live.
Yeah. When we moved there, we actually assumed there would be like 10 food co-ops in the Chicago area, and at the time there was maybe one.
Wow.
It was the Hyde Park, and they were closing down. But in that time, Sugar Beets opened in Oak Park.
We love Cheryl. Love Cheryl, yeah. Where's Food Shed?
That is in McHenry County.
Okay.
And Wild Onion Market in Rogers Park.
Wasn't there one, did Pickle?
Dill Pickle.
Dill Pickle, is that still there?
That is there in Logan Square.
Excellent, excellent. So for folks who don't understand, because I was mentioning in the hallway that I invested in a Chicago Market, which is also a food co-op. It takes a long time, so I'm being patient. I don't know the ins and outs of it. So even as somebody who's invested, tell folks what this journey is like, whoever wants to take the reins on that, of coming up with the idea. You missed the co-op in Champaign-Urbana. What are the next steps after that?
So we kind of, when we first moved to Lombard, we noticed there were a lot of people doing a lot of work to try to source goods locally. Like there were local maple syrup buys and local grain buys, and we're like, this is a lot of work, but a lot of people are doing all this work separately. And we just had this experience at the food co-op in Urbana, and we're like, that would be kind of the answer. So we started looking into what it would take to open a food co-op, and a co-op is community owned. So it's not something that Jerry and I own by ourselves. It's a collective ownership by the community who believes in the mission of what we're trying to do. And our mission is to support local farmers and food producers. So we kind of kicked around the idea for about a year.
Yeah, for a few years we complained about lack of co-ops around us, and then we just decided to do something about it.
Yeah.
So in about 2012, we actually officially decided to incorporate as Prairie Food Co-op, and we've been working really, really hard ever since then to open our store.
We had to find our people. And there are a lot in Lombard, a lot in DuPage area, people who want to eat more locally, more sustainably. Yeah. As Kathy mentioned, all the buying groups, there were a lot. And, we found those people, and, we started strong with a lot of friends. And
yeah, we've been really lucky. We're all volunteers. None of us are going to get paid. None of us are ever going to make any money off of this. It's just something we believe in. It's important. It's transformative for a community. And we've been blessed with really great volunteers all along the 12 years. And so we have a board of directors who guides the efforts, our startup efforts right now. So let's say you had someone who invested like 10 years ago. What would you encourage one of those investors to be, how to be more proactive? I mean, because it's like herding cats when you have a lot of people who are like, yeah, sure, here's some money. And then I'll be honest, I lost track of where we're going. You know what I mean? I would say keep on top of our newsletters, read about what we're doing. We have weekly newsletters, monthly newsletters. We have very, very active on social media. We're always posting updates, and volunteer your time. Yeah. That would be wonderful. Because I volunteer at, to your point about supporting and uplifting local food growers and ag. I volunteer at our Jefferson Park Sunday Market, run by the fearless and tireless. She's probably listening going, I'm pretty tired. But Meryl Miller, our market manager. And it really is a great feeling to work with folks who are growing the food that we eat. And especially at a time now when people are screaming about eggs, right? As an example. And I don't think people understand when I get all these messages about like, well, Biden killed all these, like, well, how would you like to treat a chicken that has a virus? Because they are all in these spaces where they're all on top of each other. It spreads quickly. Yes. And it's different when you're working with local and smaller chicken ranches, right?
Exactly. And that's one of the biggest reasons we started is because we have farmers markets out in DuPage County, of course, and there are a lot of great farmers, a lot of great local makers, a lot of great vendors, small businesses, and their life is often just going around to the farmers markets, but they can only, do one on Saturday, maybe do one on Sunday. They have lives. They also have to farm, or they maybe have a community-supported agriculture where they drop off maybe boxes for people to take home. But that's a pain in the butt too. So we want these people to have a stable place to bring their food, their goods, so they don't have to hustle so much, because we want them to grow. We want more places that with sustainable food, with local food that's actually more nutritionally dense too.
Yeah, and it's better for you to eat food that's grown near you rather than having something shipped. This is something I learned when I was young. My mom read the book, The Whole Foods, not the grocery store, but about how it really can affect you negatively to have food coming from when you're living in Illinois, right, or in the Midwest.
Well, exactly. And in Illinois, I always say this, we have some of the best soil in the world. It makes no sense that we're getting a tomato that took 2,000 miles to get here, that was shipped in some chemicals to keep it fresh and, not to get ripe. And then all the CO2 that's emitted in that journey. It's ridiculous that we do it that way. And we know we can get so much food locally.
I love that you're doing this. It really is. So now, are you opening soon, or? We hope to. So right now we're on the final leg of our journey, which is raising the last bit of capital to do everything we need to open the store. So the store is completely built out. The shelves are empty, though, so we need to raise the money to fill the shelves with food and hire and train staff. And once we have that capital raised, we estimate it'll be about 3 months till opening. Now, when people, when you become so there's a tab on your website to become a PFC owner, right? Yes. Yep. So is it something that is a 501c3 for folks who might be wondering about those kinds of financial issues? We are not a 501c3. Okay. We are a cooperative business, and that is a specific corporate structure within the Illinois law. So we do have to do certain things with our profits as a cooperative. We have to either reinvest the profits in the business to provide better products or services, or give them back as dividends to owners. But there are perks and benefits of being. Sure tell us a little bit about those fun elements.
And actually, we're excited because we just finally got to decide what those were a few months ago. Well, one of the biggest things is you'd get a once a month shopping trip where you get 10% off. Mm-hmm. You'd also get 15% off case buys. You also, to me, one of the cool things about co-ops is the democratic process. If you're an owner, you can run for the board and you can vote for the board in any referendums that may come up. Also, I like all owners get a free cup of coffee before 10 a.m. Oh. Yeah. Good. And what else is there, Kathy?
I think that pretty well sums it up.
Yeah.
Discounts to classes and workshops that we'll hold. We have a small little community space, and we're hoping to have lots of food-related classes and workshops, and we'll charge for some of those, and owners will either get discounts or free classes.
I love this. So let's continue our conversation with Kathy and Jerry Nash. prairiefood.coop is the website. Again, that's Prairie Food Co-op, but the website is prairiefood.coop, and we'll learn more when we come back on WCPT 820, Heartland Signal. I'm kind of late, Lady B, but it's close.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
In your communities in Chicago.
On WCPT 820.
Going down memory lane, hanging out with my guests. You're driving it home with me, Patti Vasquez. We thank our listeners on KTNF AM 950 in Minneapolis, St. Paul. We're talking about a co-op here in Chicago, of course, where we're broadcasting on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, because we have the owners, the founders.
Yes.
So Kathy and Jerry Nash, who are the founders of Prairie Food Co-op. You can go to prairiefood.coop for more information. And so this is in your community. I was mentioning that the one that I've invested in would be in Uptown, which is great, and yay for Uptown, but it's probably easier for me to get to Lombard, so maybe I should take a look at your becoming a PFC owner here.
Oh, we would love that.
We would love to have you, Patty.
It's you, Oak Park. I mean, we were talking about Sugar Beet. It's kind of hard. There's Dill Pickle in Logan Square. Also not easy to get to sometimes, depending on traffic. But I'm so enchanted and I think impressed by your commitment to locally grown, supporting farmers. We work with Finn's Ranch, which is in Michigan, is one of the ranchers that we have, like for all the sausages and meats. I mean, great stuff. Oh. How do you go about collaborating with ranchers and farmers and food makers?
Yeah, well, early on, almost from day one, we knew we had to get our name out there. And so we just started thinking about events, collaboration. So we reached out to a lot of our local farmers. I'll throw out like Walnut Acres and Rustic Road and Elburn. And, over the years, we've developed a lot of relationships with farmers, growers, makers, local vendors, local soap makers. And we kept a list. And even on our website, we have a form for people to go to suggest products, but we also have a form for vendors to go to start filling out, so they're already in the queue. And we have hundreds of vendors already in line.
That's outstanding. And one listener asks, it's a Prairie Food Co-op, Allison. It's called Prairie Food Co-op. And you can go to prairiefood.coop for more information.
I would just say .coop because people might try to put a dash
the hyphen
in there.
Coop. Okay.
Yeah.
COOP. .coop.
Right. .coop.
And they ask, do you have to be low income? This is for everybody. I imagine that you also will be able to take SNAP for folks who use that service.
Definitely.
Excellent.
Yeah. We want to let it be known, one of the most important things, that anybody can shop there. Whether you're a Prairie Food Co-op owner or not, everybody and anybody's invited. We want our whole community and even those outside to come and support our store.
And what are you going to need to get across the finish line? What are some of the last steps? Now you mentioned that you've got the build out, and now what's next?
So the final thing is this funding. So we have a bit of a funding gap. The whole project is $5 million. We've already raised $4.5 million out of that $5 million project. So we have it was a $500,000 funding gap. We've raised about $220,000 towards that, but we think we're going to be able to lower that because our general manager did some amazing work with some of our suppliers to push some of those costs off. So it'll be a little bit lower, but once we reach that, then we can really move forward, full steam ahead, open in 3 months, and start welcoming people to the store.
That's so exciting. It really is. So again, folks, if you want to become a Prairie Food Co-op owner, go to prairiefood.coop, and there's a tab right there to learn more about becoming an owner. And you also learn more if that's not something you want to do right now. You can learn more about what they're doing. This is one of my favorite things is community. It is also being mindful of our environment that we've been talking about. What are some of the things that you're learning from the people that you work with? I mean, you must have some new folks too. What are some of the things that you're hearing from the people who have invested either from the beginning or just lately?
Well, that's so many of them. They just want to see us succeed. They want access to local food, sustainable food. And, a lot of them put in 12 years ago, right, when we started. And, they've been there for the journey. And we've met some of the best people in our community. And even we reach out to other food co-ops and we reach the best people. We meet the best people in the nation. But yeah, a lot of these people have hung on since day one and they're rooting for us and they're proud of us.
I think right now, too, given everything that's going on, people are really looking for an alternative to where they shop for their foods, not giving their money to certain types of businesses, not to be named.
No, I can. You don't have to, but okay. I can. I mean, it hurts me because, it's convenient to go to places that Amazon owns.
Exactly.
I'm just saying. And so please continue.
Yeah, so I think people are really looking for an alternative to that. Where can I use my dollars that aren't going to go support someone who owns Amazon but still has, focuses on organic, local transparency is important. We're helping to build a more resilient food supply system locally so that if we have another pandemic of sorts that has a supply chain issue, we can still keep food on our shelves because it's not coming from California or Florida.
And it also is a place, one of the dreams I've had on a much smaller level is I would love to open like a used bookstore that's also a community hub, which is also what you're providing when you talk about workshops, is a place. And that's what people want now as well, is like finding people who are connecting and want to support each other, don't you think?
Exactly. And I always brag about this. We've also done so many workshops over the years and events. We've probably done over 100. That's before we were even open. And every time we've done an event, we always have to think where we're going to do it, what space are we going to have to get, how much we're going to pay for. But now when we open, we'll have a beautiful cafe that we can convert for all of our events. And we don't really have to think about that much often.
I love that. We are hanging out with Jerry and Kathy Nash. Do you guys want to hang out for one more segment?
I'd love to. Thank you.
I love talking about the community element of this. You guys are great. Thank you so much for, I guess I haven't said that yet, is thank you for taking this on because people think about it. I wish it was better. I wish I didn't have to buy from a corporation. And we lost a great grocery store here on the Northwest side. I love the produce center, but because of rents or whatever, we lost that as a local option to go shopping, and we keep losing them.
Yes.
And this is a great way to invest in your community. Again, go to prairiefood.coop, prairiefood.coop to learn more about the Prairie Food Co-op. We thank you all so much for joining us for this conversation. If you have any questions for my guests, you're welcome to call or text 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-9278. Lady B, I'm coming in to nail this right on the money. Thank you so much. And here we go. Let's go to the break. And 3, 2, 1, nail it!
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Hi, this is Patti Vasquez. We appreciate all our fans of Driving It Home, and your support of show sponsor Minocqua Brewing Company ensures that our important conversations continue right here on WCPT each weekday from 5 to 7 p.m. You can now find the Resistance IPA, Labor Lager, or the Resistance Pilsner beer at several Illinois locations, including Armanetti Wine and Spirits in Woodstock, Pineapple and Company in North Riverside, Lyons Beverage Depot in Arlington Heights, and MP's Liquor, Wine, and Beer in North Aurora. For a full list of Chicagoland locations, please visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. As always, please vote and drink responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
In your communities in Chicago.
On WCPT 820.
Thank you so much much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. I'm your host, Patti Vasquez, and hello to our friends listening on KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. We got a wonderful note from our friend Ellie Krug, who hosts on KTNF AM 950. Jerry, what's the name of her show again? The Illegal Trans. And we are going to talk to Ellie every month, perhaps more when issues come up, because I think that the vitriol that we've been seeing, the weaponizing of just the very existence of a human being, is one of the most horrible things I've seen in my lifetime. And I've seen a lot. I would say I've seen a lot, which is why, when we have guests who are so committed to a community, to making sure people can connect and learning new ways to shop for groceries. I mean, like something as basic as having a co-op, I think it helps you reimagine the world around us, being that connected. Don't you think? We have Kathy and Jerry Nunn, the founders of Prairie Food Co-op. You can go to prairiefood.coop to learn more about what they're doing. But to me, we've gotten so, even though we're connected by social media, we're disconnected because we have this bravery online. And that's why it's so important to come together in our communities. Don't you think, Jerry?
Oh, exactly. That's a whole, to me, underlying thing about Prairie Food Co-op is all the people behind it. We get to be lucky enough to sit here, but there's so many people behind us that have served on the board.
Yeah, I can't fit over 2,000 people, 2,180 owners and counting. I don't have that kind of room.
We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, see who you want to rotate through. I'm happy with you guys. Go ahead. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no, and yeah, that's how we've actually not just survived, but thrived. I think that as far as food co-ops, we go to food co-ops conferences, once a year. We stay connected with a lot of people. And I feel every time we go to a conference, we have some of the strongest presence there. We've always had a very strong board. We have a strong board now. Shout out to them. But we also have a great network of volunteers that have been with us, many of them since day one. So we rely heavily on our community, and some of them have been around for a while, but we're always asking for new ones to step up.
And I have to ask either one of you, how many kids? First of all, how many kids do you have, Kathy?
Two.
So how old are they?
16 and 18.
So they were little when you took this on. Look, every age is completely different. So how have they grown with this?
So our oldest was in kindergarten when we started this. He is now a freshman at COD. So
really,
yes,
well, that's fantastic.
Yes, so they've seen this whole thing. I would like to think that they've learned to commit to something and to work really hard. And when you commit to something and work really hard, and it's very special and important to you, that good things can happen. And we've met, like Jerry said, so many wonderful people in our community that become our good friends, and it's been transformative for our lives, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes we talk like knowing how long it take. Would we do this again?
No.
And it's always, to me, a little bit of a back and forth. Like, it's been a long, hard process, but yeah, we've met some of the best people, and so many of our best friends and so many people we know, we would never have met. So
this is all a win-win, folks. I don't even know any other way to put it, because you are, again, supporting local producers, and you would mention soaps, right? I mean, so it's not just farmers and creators of, very unique food too. Because when I went to Sugar Beet, I realized that there are products there that you can't get anywhere else. I mean, like the best pickles.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know about other pickle people, but I'm a big pickle person.
I love their bread. They have publican bread, and it's so good.
Come on, right? Yeah, I just think, folks, if you don't live near Lombard, I would go online and find out, because we mentioned some of the Chicagoland areas, but throughout the country, is this right? There's only about 230.
That sounds about right.
About 300, but there's a lot organizing right now too in the pipelines.
So this might be the ones that are open around 300.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And going back to something you just said, like, say, the pickles or the soap, you see this phenomenon when you see co-ops. You see more independent businesses that surround, within a geographic area around. So you might have more people who can make a living selling and making pickles, or making soap, or growing sustainable flowers, on their own property. And we love that aspect too.
And that goes back to one of the ideas of not shopping at the places that are working against our fundamental rights right now. And that is giving people like their own self-determination, right? Not being a number on a ledger that might get cut off from service. services, they have just that freedom to express themselves or to live their lives in a way that is supported by people in their community.
I mean, collectively, where we spend our money is very powerful.
Yes.
And if you have the power to spend it at a place that supports your own values, that's meaningful. And right now, there's just not a lot of those places around.
Yeah, and we need so much more of it. So you have over 2,180 folks who have bought in. How do we get more folks? I know we're talking about it here. So you don't have to live in Lombard. You might just believe in supporting something like this, right, Jerry?
Yeah. I would say if this is something that you think is good for our world, even if you don't live near us, please consider becoming an owner. I don't want to take away from, if you live, say, in Lincoln Park, look into Chicago Market. If you live in Rogers Park, look at Wild Onion. If you live in Oak Park, look at Sugar Bee.
Yep.
If you live in Logan Square, look at Dill Pickle. But otherwise, look at Prairie Food Co-op.
I think it's Jefferson Park's closest option. Again, and I think that, in addition to, what we're talking about, connection of community, and I mentioned, supporting creators who might not otherwise have that kind of avenue, you also, as a consumer, get to enjoy something completely different from the standard corporate sort of determined tastes and flavors of, there's so much more out there, is what I'm saying.
Exactly. Like one co-op is different from another, and they often tend to, their community might be different. What Oak Park community wants is probably going to be different than what the Lombard community wants.
Yes, exactly. In Lombard? Kathy and Jerry, I don't know what Jerry, come over to my microphone and tell me what you want to tell me. He's showing me a picture of Kathy and Jerry Nash, Prairie Food Co-op. You want me to remind folks? I don't, he even texted me too. He's just showing, you can see us in the Showcase studio, which is not a Showcase studio. It's just us on the Facebook Live stream. Again, that's, I don't know what just happened. Oh, the Chiron. I got you. So the Prairie Food Co-op? No?
Okay, keep going.
No, you just come tell me what you were saying.
Okay,
Yeah.
You accidentally said Nunn as their last name.
Oh, did I say Jerry Nunn?
Yeah, you said.
Or I thought you might have said Ar-On.
Oh, Ar-On?
It's Nash.
Oh, Nash.
I thought she was thinking about the Catholic schoolgirl skirts. I wasn't quite sure.
So Jerry Nunn was a former coworker of mine, so I apologize.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I apologize. I did the Ken Mejia Beal yesterday. I called him Keith, so it happens from time to time. I apologize. I didn't know what I had done. I don't know my mistakes, but I appreciate being shown them. And that's the thing too, is when you're collaborating on something like this for so long, you learn so much along the way, and part of that is making mistakes, right?
Absolutely.
What has surprised you the most, Kathy, in this journey of trying to make this happen over 13 years?
I think just the number of hurdles we've been able to overcome, because we've had a lot, and what a community can do when it comes together that Jerry and I could not do ourselves. I mean, it is really true that it is powerful to have the strength of a community behind you, and that's kind of what has kept us moving forward when we've hit hurdle after hurdle after hurdle.
Yeah.
And I'll add that also something that's cool about food co-ops is that we don't compete against each other. We actually help each other. So maybe when we've run into hurdles, we've reached out to somebody who's at another food co-op, maybe in another state, who faced the same issues. We call it Principle 6. We call it P6ing when we share with each other.
That's amazing, and because that's hard with that many people, with all different sort of vision of what you want to do. This is also creative, right? I mean, the idea, because it's so outside what people expect. Talk to us a little bit about helping people understand how they don't have to stay in the same rut of grocery shopping, because we used to have neighborhood marts, right? You used to know the owners of the store.
Exactly.
And it's changed so much. So tell us a little about that part of experiencing grocery shopping differently and moving into that space.
Yeah, I mean, as you just alluded to, there's been massive consolidation in the last 20 years. And so your choices as a consumer are narrowed, prices increase, and so the consumer loses at all times. And so I think there aren't really a lot of alternatives to the big box stores right now. I mean, I can think of a couple small ones in Lombard, but
yeah,
they're just little shops that you might drive by and not notice. And so
when we moved to Lombard, there was still the local, Jerry might remember Mr. Z's, Yeah, that was still there. And there was one in Glen Ellen. And all of those have since, within a few years of us living there, closed down because of all the big box stores coming in. And in that time, we've seen Mariano's, Jewel, Pete's. We've seen all the big guys come in, and they like to muscle the little guys out.
And not only that, but I mean, like the hedge fund investors, we saw what happened with Dominic's, which was something a lot of us relied on. And over here, as I mentioned in Jefferson Park, Gladstone Park, the produce center, right? The rent went up, and that building is now just friggin' empty. That helps nobody.
Exactly.
Right? And so you guys are revitalizing a building. You're bringing people together. At any rate, I just thank you so much for doing this, for taking this on. Is there anything that you want to make sure our audience knows? Because a lot of times people have like something I want to make sure I say, and then I feel bad later because no one knew what you intended to do except for you. Is there anything you want to make sure folks know?
I would just say if you're a Prairie Food Co-op owner listening and you haven't taken part in our community investment program, please go to the website and check that out. Also, if you aren't an owner, Patty's alluded to it many times, consider PFC ownership. Yeah. And then the third thing I'd like to say is that whether you're an owner or not, please shop at our store when we open.
Yes, I will be there.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. Well, you're invited.
I appreciate that. I look for one more thing, Kathy. You mentioned some workshops and things like that. Can you let folks know what some of those programs might be?
Yeah, so we've had lots of co-ops and workshops in the past, as Jerry's alluded to. We've had a lot of DIY, like make your own laundry soap or make your own. There was like a natural makeup one. There will be food-focused classes. I would love to see some ethnic cooking classes
or pairing beer with cheese or
cooking on a budget. There's a cooking on a budget series, a food stamp budget series. So
I'm going to nominate best wine pairings with Halloween candy, and I know a sommelier who can help you with that, by the way, because the parents who are handing out candy or getting it home might want to know. I'm just saying.
That would be fun.
We'll find somebody. My friend Christine Bloomer used to do that. I do that in honor of her because she did a great job with that. We've been having a great time talking to Jerry and Kathy Nash, the founders of Prairie Food Co-op. That's prairiefood.coop online. And you can find out all the information you need to know about shopping there when they open, about the events they have, becoming a PFC owner. And thank you so much for joining us today and hanging out in the neighborhood for a while, too.
Yeah, oh, thank you so much for having us. This was great.
And absolutely. And let folks know where you hung out so we can support a local business as well.
We're at the Newsstand Cafe, which is amazing.
And I went to the Junebug Cafe before that.
Oh, that's great stuff, too. Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you for hanging out and supporting my local businesses. Not mine, but
of course.
In the area. Well, have a wonderful evening. Look forward to having you back, and let's get this across the finish line, folks.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Let's take a quick break here. We'll round out the show in just a moment on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
Gambling Awareness Month is this entire month of March, and we are proud to welcome a new sponsor to the Driving at Home family. Are You Really Winning? Gambling is common in Illinois, with many people taking their chances. And no matter what you call it, betting, gaming, wagering, it can take so many forms. And for some of us, gambling can lead to financial problems, relationship problems, and depression and anxiety, but you don't have to feel out of control. Problem gambling can be managed and treated, and we are here to help you because you are not alone. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit areyourreallywinning.com today.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
In your communities, in Chicago.
On WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us as we wind it down here in our last segment of Driving It Home. I listen to Randy Rhoads and Matt McNeil every night. I cook dinner after the show, which can be a little bit complicated because when you start cooking at 7 and then you're feeding your family at friggin' 9 or 8, I will say I think part of it is I get distracted while I'm cooking because Randy, man, she really boils things down and she is tough as nails. She's a little intimidating. Like people say I'm scary. Randy, man, I like the way she handles callers. Whoo boy. And of course she is followed by Matt McNeil, who's celebrating an anniversary soon. We're going to have him on in the next week or so. I am going to be in Wisconsin this Sunday. I'll be door knocking. We'll have more information tomorrow. And we're broadcasting on Monday from Walworth, from Elkhorn, Wisconsin. And then on Tuesday, we'll be at the Madison Tap Room from Monaco Brewing Company. We'd love to see you. Come on, bring us a big crowd. After the show, apparently there's a poetry night there as well. And the Madison Tap Room for Monaco Brewing Company is a nerve center for the resistance. Go to MonacoBrewingCompany.com. Please subscribe to their newsletter. And when you see my newsletters appear every Monday, please consider making an order for some woke coffee. It's really good. It's non-alcoholic. You pour it over some ice and some cream. We're heading into the warm months, and that'll be a great way to stay woke. Yeah, so that's this next few days. I'm trying to decide about tomorrow. I think I'm going to see if Elliot Serrano, if you're watching Elliot, do you have time to come and join me in studio? Because I just... it's a lot going on. Like it's hard for me to get through the news of the day because part of my job during the day is keeping track of how the policies at the federal level are going to help facilitate some pain, I guess. I don't know any other way around it. During a press conference today, Speaker Mike Johnson, he's apparently having some concerns over proposed Medicaid funding cuts. I don't know how he can be concerned now. I don't know what kind of concern he has because one of the resolutions has proposed, apparently, they are talking about, as we said, and everyone said that we were lying, $880 billion worth of cuts in Medicaid and $230 billion in food stamps. Apparently, they're focusing primarily on the privatization, and this is something that Dr. Oz would be ushering in. He has talked about this for years, about how you don't have the right to access to health care, is basically where Dr. Oz is coming from. You have the right to apparently have the possibility to have access to health care. We are the most advanced country on the planet that does not have a path for healthcare, that you don't have to worry about losing your home. You don't have to worry about, like we were talking earlier to our friends from Prairie Food Co-op, the ability to work for yourself and have your own vision of your destiny is hampered when you are afraid to lose a job or leave a job that you hate when your health care is tied to that job. That's what kept me at my former employer. I was talking about this as we head into the 20th anniversary of WCPT. I will tell you folks, I knew that this was the right place for me long before Mark Pinsky invited me, long before Jonas Esposito spoke up for me. I listened to this station more than I listened to my own because these were the conversations that spoke to me, but I couldn't do anything about it because I had health care. I had a salary that, and how do you leave a platform that has that kind of reach? I knew that this would be harder, and that's why we also need you. When we talk about these food co-ops and everyone's kind of an owner, you are kind of an owner here at WCPT. Those of you who've listened to this show for a week, for 10 years, you are the most valuable asset to this station, and sometimes we need your help. I don't know what way you have of getting it out there, whether it's going to Facebook Live and reposting our live streams so that your audience, your followers, your friends, your circle know. And look, there are ways for you to put the settings so that it's not like maybe your uncle who now you got to hear about it at Christmas. Why are you listening to that libtard Patty? Whatever it is, we need you. And I'm not asking you we're not looking at a financial drive. I just need word of mouth. If you get one of my pens and you already listen to my show, and you can leave that pen somewhere, like get the word out that we are here having these conversations. Because we had Jaime De Leon, who is a progressive. He was in studio talking about how we don't have enough progressive Spanish speaking station shows. And I'm like, but did you know we had one in English? He didn't even know. My friends, and I do repost it, but I think comics, we get tired of seeing each other self promote, which, I understand that, but that's weird when even my friends don't know that I host this wonderful show that features you, the listeners, great guests like Jerry and Kathy Nash from Prairie Food Co-op, or Dr. Benny White, who was on in the last hour. If you enjoy this show, I'm not asking you for money, but I am asking you to tell the people in your life that would benefit from, or even the people who disagree with you. Have you tuned in to Joan Esposito or Richard Chu in the mornings? Tune into Patty. Just if you could help us out with the word of mouth, I would really appreciate that. And here, in case you're wondering what's coming up tomorrow on Choose Views, Richard's going to be talking to Karen Byrne. By the way, Karen, if you're listening, I know you work in the evenings. Again, I need to circle back. It's just been a crazy couple weeks, and I'm so grateful for your kind words, for your offer of support, and just you're incredible. And it's always great to hear you on Richard Chu's shows and Stephanie's. She's the co-host of True Blue Politics. Also, he'll have Matt Greenberg, executive director of Chicago Acapella, and Cook County Commissioner Josina Morita. That's Choose Views weekdays from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central on WCPT 820, the Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook is where you can catch the show. And then tomorrow on Joan's show, Live, Local, and Progressive, she'll be taking your calls for the first half of the show, and then talking to Michael Jones, founder of Once Upon a Hill newsletter. Also, Darren LaHood, the former Illinois Congressman and Secretary of Transportation, and the father of downstate MAGA Republican Representative Darren LaHood. Okay. Here's the thing about Joan: being an experienced broadcaster, she can direct those conversations. So tune in and find out what the former Secretary of Transportation has to say. Joan will have a pair of opening. She'll also have a pair of opening a day White Sox tickets to give away. That's live, local, and by the way, as will I. I like making people happy with baseball. I mean, that's my jam. Go to the game, folks. Also, go see some of the teams we have in the area, like the Kane County Cougars. And then there's another one. I had them on my show. Anyway, we'll go see some baseball games, even just for the hot dogs and the sunshine. That's all I'm saying. At any rate, that's Live, Local, and Progressive weekdays 2 to 5 p.m. Central, right here on WCPT, Chicago's Progressive Talk, for 20 years. And tomorrow I'll be joined by taxes. Even though I really love Jeff Badu, it's going to be tough for me to talk about taxes because I'm getting close to where I got to get this stuff done. But we should all be doing it. Have our minds and our hearts ready to do what it takes to get our taxes done. But Jeff Badu, who is a fantastic guest on the show and founder and CEO of Badu Enterprises, LLC. Tune in for that. So let's see if maybe Scott Stantis. What do you think? Scott Stantis or Elliot Serrano or both? I think maybe both. Let's do both. Okay, I'm going to ask both of them. So that's our show tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I need you to take care of yourselves, and I say that out loud so that I also remind myself to take care of myself. This is an exhausting time that we're going through. It's important for us to be there for each other. But, I know that our friend earlier who called in, who was it Nancy? Yeah, she was fired up. I don't know if it's going to be any more calming to listen to Randy. I don't know if it's a new episode because she's been on repeat the last couple of nights. But here's the thing. You're always going to learn something from Randy Rhodes and, of course, Matt McNeil after that. Thank you, Lady B. Have a great evening. Bye, everyone. Be well.